Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Glitchwalkers series. This is an exploration of the Glitchwalkers DLC for Astroneer. We pick up the action pretty much where we left off last episode. We can see that we're pretty much ready to rock and roll in terms of heading to another planet to commence our gathering of storm data. So, with a quick little review of our mission list, we're about to get underway. So with that, I would ask that you put on your heaviest and most durable, and more importantly, your most stupid resistant Astroneer's type outfit, and get ready for fun. Now, the gathering of the storm data did specify planets only, so I'm ignoring moons. So DeSolo is our moon in the same way that Novus is a moon for Visenya. Visenya is not a particularly, well, actually, let's face it, most of the planets are not particularly friendly for one reason or another. I've elected to go to Calidor because it doesn't present quite as many issues as some of the other planets. I will do a bigger deep dive as part of my regular Astroneer series, so stay tuned for that one. I am still producing episodes periodically for it. But for this series, I'm very focused purely on the Glitchwalkers aspects of Astroneer. Now, we saw as we arrived at Calidor the unmistakable shape of a very large storm. Now, what I'm looking for is a landing zone, and you can see they're marked on the map there. You can just click on those little dome-looking things, and it will choose that as a landing site. I don't want to land on the other side of the planet from the storm. At this stage, I know as much about storms as you do, possibly even less. I just figure they're in a certain spot on the planet, and I just want to land as close as I can to where that storm is to minimize the downtime of, getting there and yada, yada, yada. So we're just moving around the planet here to find the closest landing zone. Once we do that in a moment, we will set down and start our preparations. Now, in selecting that landing zone, I noticed that this particular one actually has a gateway fairly close to it, and similarly, there's a gateway fairly close to where the storm is. Now, having, once again, done absolutely nothing with storms at this stage, I was sort of assuming the worst, and I thought, well, if I have a gateway close at this end and I have a gateway close at the other end, if the worst happens, it's gonna, save me a lot of run time getting back to my body. So that's the logic I'm proceeding with for the moment. Now, I brought an oxygenator with me because I couldn't remember if this shelter had one built in. Apparently it has one built in, so that's not a problem. Not to mention we've got one on the shuttle anyway, so technically I can tether off either of these structures and it's not an issue. We've unpacked the essentials off our backpack. We are now just gathering the basic resources we need just to get a few little odds and ends ready to go at this end in case we need them. We're going to get a couple of platforms set up, and on those platforms we're going to get a couple of the printers set up with a little bit of room for plugging some power and other tidbits in there as well. Once again, in case I need them for something down the track. You know, should I lose this Ruby module, I can print another one quite easily if I've got a printer set up. So I'm just doing a bit of, you know, preventative stuff now, just to ensure that if I need it, it's already there ready to rock and roll. Anyway, I've sped all of this up because it is just super basic gathering. And looking around on Calidor, there is so much resin and so much compound lying around. If you, in this particular spot, if I had to run more than 100 yards, I would have probably tripped over at least one deposit of something. So resources are really not an issue where we are. And that's another reason why I'm just electing to get a bit of this effort expended. But in my searching, I have found one of the main mission reasons for coming to Calidor, which is to collect wolframite. Now, wolframite smelts into tungsten, and there is a mission to do exactly that, in the same way that there was a mission to do something similar, you know, with zinc and with aluminium. So I don't know if I'll ever bother actually completing that mission, but I thought, hey, when I'm done here, I can bring this stuff back and then just tick that off, just in case I need some bonus science. So that's something that I wasn't intending to find while I was here, but look, I won't say no. Now we're grabbing some more resin, because resin is fundamentally what you need to make the large platforms. It's also a secondary component in making some of the other devices that we may or may not end up needing. So again, a bit more gathering. That's why I've just sort of sped all this up, really. We are going to also be spitting out quite a lot of tethers, obviously, because we're about to embark on a fairly substantial overland journey. And tethers are definitely a thing that we're going to want to bring with us. Now, I'm going to stop my little ramble here for a moment to let your sanity recover a little bit while we get our base all printed up and ready to go. I did mention that your spacesuit needed to be resistant to stupid. Now, the available evidence has actually already popped up on the screen a few times, but you know, we're doing some setup. Maybe what you think the stupid is about might not actually be what it's about, but yeah, I'll let you leave a comment down below if you've worked out exactly what this particular type of stupid sort of was centered around, if you like. Yeah, leave a little comment down below. Yes, that may have been a clue for one separate piece of stupid that could also be linked to a larger and more problematic bit of stupid. Yeah, we didn't bring any aluminium with us for making a buggy, which is kind of silly. It means we definitely do need to be using tethers as opposed to just having some mode of transport to cover the ground a bit quicker. At the moment, I sort of thought, oh yeah, that was a bit dumb, but look, we're already making a bunch of tethers. That was going to be the plan anyway. Not really a big loss at this stage. Or is it? Alright, levels of outstanding stupid or stupid amounts of outstanding, I'll leave it up to you, but with that aside, we're now heading for the nearest gateway so that we can get it unlocked and we can have a point that we can easily teleport back to should the need arise. We're navigating the wilderness as carefully as we can. There are some aggressive plants on Calidor, and this is one of them. It actually shoots missiles at you, but it is a little bit slow to get started, so provided you don't run straight at it, usually you can avoid the missile and you're pretty good. If you get hit by one, it will knock you around pretty badly, so yeah, try and avoid them. Don't try and take one to the face. That's really not a great idea, I should say. Plenty of experience dealing with those in previous playthroughs, so not that concerned. I am somewhat surprised to find so much wolframite out. I don't know if they've restructured it or whether I've just got a generous seed that way, but yeah, I'm kind of wishing this save was actually the one I was using in my normal series in, but it's all good. Now, I cut about 5 or 10 minutes out there because I plugged a couple of generators in, but as you can see, I've got an RTG and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 4, yeah, 6. I've got 6 generators times 2 units each plus an RTG. So I've got 13 units of power running to activate this gate. So yeah, there's a bit of time at each site gathering the compound to make the generators, and then enough organic that I can put 1 organic in each generator, because that's too many generators. Even if I didn't have other things I was trying to carry around on my back, that would be my entire backpack and then some, because you've only got 8 slots. So I wouldn't have room for tethers, I wouldn't have room for much of anything really. So it's easier to just leave those behind at each site, and that's what I've elected to do. Having activated that gate, I've just, did a little quick travel back here. I've cut the return journey out. We're showing we've made a bunch more tethers. We're leaving some stuff behind here. And now we're going to start heading off towards the storm. You can see the storm indicator is a slightly different icon on my compass. And we're just going to start heading towards that. Now, there are indicators for where the rocket and the shelter are, so it's going to be easy to navigate back to those anytime the need arises. So at this stage, I'm feeling pretty confident about the whole exercise. I've got all the things on me that I think I'm going to need. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting the job done. Or is it? Oh, hello. We found one of these close to our base on Silver. And woohoo, we've got another one of those gravity globes. Oh, that's going to come in handy for getting around. Oh, and we've got a small solar panel. The research sample I'm not worried about. Whole bunch of junk. There's a medium wind generator up the top. There's another light. Wow, there's a bit here. Yeah, it takes me a little while to get it all sort of corralled, and I end up just sticking it on a couple of platforms. There was even 2 platforms that were intact. So, yeah, anyway, I've stashed it all there in case I need it in the future. But the storms are calling, so we've pulled out our favourite gravity globe transport device, and we are going to burn our way over to the nearest storm. Now, the nearest storm is, it's still here. It's close to this gateway. So we are going to activate the gateway before we try and tackle the storm. We've got another one of these things here as well. Wow. There's a lot more of these bigger structures I seem to be coming across. This big transport loading, unloading dock looking thing. I've literally never seen one before. And now I've seen 2 in very short succession. So, yeah, anyway. We're looking at the storm and we're thinking, yeah, that does look a bit dangerous. We are going to activate this gate first. So we're going to set about doing what we did with the previous one. We're just going to unload our backpack, put all the solar panels out. Now, it's worth noting that wherever there is a shadow in this game, it will block solar panels. So they do need to have clearer line of sight to the sun. And so we're over on this side, and I'm somewhat optimistically thinking that I'm going to have all of this ready before the sun went down. Yeah, that was never going to happen. So anyway, we ended up moving things around a bit. We got ourselves a whole bunch of generators hooked up, and we are firing them all up, and we're now unlocking this particular gateway. Now, funny thing about all the time that I spent unlocking this gateway, yeah, the storm moved on. So we're going to have to pack up this once we're done, and we're going to end up jumping back in the gravity globe to hunt down where the storm has moved to. It didn't go a long way, like it seems to have stayed vaguely in the same hemisphere, but it's definitely not where it was before, which was, just down in the gully there. So we're picking up our solar panels, we're picking up our RTG, we're going to jump back in the gravity globe, and boom, here we are, back at the storm. And doesn't that look big and spooky? Well, has anyone worked out what our, stupid, mega, unbelievable thing was that we've done? I'll give you a clue. We didn't read the instructions. Yes, reading the instructions is very important, even in a game as basic as this one in terms of how stuff works. Reading the instructions is very, very important. So we've expanded Ruby and we've put Ruby in the storm, and there's been tooltips popping up everywhere that tell us how this thing works. Do you think I've actually stopped to read it? No. So I've just slowed things down there for a moment, and then because my editing software didn't like me slowing it down any more than what I just did, I've just put the text up on the screen. So, long story short, Ruby needs 5 units of power per second while it is gathering stuff. And here I am just dumping it down randomly in the storm, wondering why it's not doing anything. Yeah. I think that might be plumbing new depths of stupid for me, but anyway, in my defense, I was recording this after doing a full day of work, and yeah, the brain doesn't work too well at the end of a long work day, but anyway, I was learning the ins and outs of this storm, even if I wasn't actually successfully gathering anything. I was learning that there's this little sort of red, like corruption style hacking icon that's slowly building up and building up and building up. It's just above my head there. And when it gets to be full, the hacker guy ends up hacking my life support, and then I start choking. And the only way I can reset that is to leave the storm area. Now, the other problem I've got is, with all of my inability to get things done, even with the oxygen tank, I'm also running out of oxygen regularly while I'm in here unsuccessfully doing anything. Now, I thought I was missing something obvious, so I turned the compass off so I could see what was going on. But I still was getting a distinct impression that this all just wasn't really working. But it made me more and more persistent. I thought the little red thing, I thought I had to endure some hacks or something while I was in the storm, and that's when it would gather the data. I don't know. So I thought I'll sit out, like I'll try and survive that hack. Yeah, doesn't happen. If you start suffocating, that's the end of the story and you end up dying. So I got sent back to the rocket because that was my last save point. Had a big overland journey to get back up here. Bonus of that trip is I now have a bunch more tethers covering a bit more of Calidor, so if I need any future explorations here, I am going to have an easier time of it in that particular part of Calidor. Now, long story short, I've identified and read the instructions now, and I've realised the error of my ways, and I'm now returning to the main base to do something about it. Now, you're going to have to wait until the next episode to see what that particular corrective measure is. So until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.